All right, welcome to Money Club Mondays, April 25th, 2022. So today I do not have any guests joining me. And what I wanted to do was kind of just do an overview of the Private Money Club, what it's all about, and answer any questions that anybody has. So as we go here today, I just want to talk about some of the different types of deals in the Private Money Club. So if you're already a member of the Private Money Club, please put your questions in. I want to answer all your questions, or if anything that's been on your mind that you've been meaning to schedule a call or talk about, or you just want some clarification on something, put that in the Q&A box, and I'll be sure to answer all of those. And also, if you're a member, any suggestions you have for the Private Money Club, things you would like to see, things, even if you're not a member, say, hey, I would think about joining if, I had the ability to do this or that, or things like that. So I just wanted to today kind of talk about Private Money Club and what it offers. We've been doing it for about a year now, and, been doing these Money Club Mondays now for a while. And I think they've been really good bringing on the borrowers and introducing everybody to the investors and who's borrowing the money and the deals that they have. Are you guys liking those shows on Mondays that I do? Do you like when I bring the borrowers on and you kind of learn about the new deals and hear from the borrowers directly? Do you guys like those? Or do you like more of the education? You can only talk about promissory notes and mortgages so many times, but so that's why I've been kind of concentrating on that. So it seems like that's what people like. Yeah, some education. It seems like when I bring the borrowers on, though, we end up getting into education too with them, which really helps also. So it looks like most people like that, the variety of deals. Okay, cool. So I'll definitely continue, in that direction. I'll work on having a new borrower, a new deal on, or two every single Monday, just to kind of, and if there's any lenders on that would like to come on to the show and talk about, lending money or anything like that, definitely reach out to me. But if you're a borrower in the Private Money Club and you want to get on, or you have a new deal, or you just want to meet everybody in the club, as a borrower, send me an email and let's get that scheduled, because these things typically get scheduled about a month in advance. So shoot me an email and let's get you scheduled. Okay, borrowers would like to see more details of investments. Okay, yeah, so we can definitely talk more specifics. Although what I like to do on the webinars is introduce you more to the person. And then, if you are interested in, the broad idea of what the deal is, and if you're interested, the next best step really would be then for you to have a one-on-one conversation with that borrower. So, Money Club Monday will introduce you. Hey, do you like that person, their experience? Do you get a good feel for who they are by seeing them, over the Zoom? And if so, then, and the generals of the deal that they have. And if so, then you want to get in more specific and schedule a one-on-one Zoom or one-on-one call with that actual borrower so you can get more specifics about it. But hearing from lenders and their experiences, been new to this, it will help. Yeah, that'd be cool. So if there's any lenders that want to hop on the show, just talk about your experiences. I could definitely bring you on to a Money Club Mondays also. That'd be pretty cool. All right. So with that being said, let's do a little rundown. And like I said, put your questions in the Q&A box as we go here. I'll make sure to answer those questions as we go. But for those of you that are newer to the Private Money Club, or maybe aren't a member yet, so what you're going to do is you go to privatemoneyclub.com. And this is going to be just a page, kind of say what you're interested in. Are you a lender looking to generate passive income? Are you a real estate investor looking for funding? Or are you learning the ropes? Maybe looking to do both. Now, the experience everybody is going to have is the same. The only difference on if you're a lender or if you're a borrower are going to be some of the initial questions for your profile. But the user experience and everything once you're an actual member is all going to be the same. So let's just say that you're a lender looking to generate passive income. So it just, talks a little bit about what the Private Money Club has to offer. So inside the Private Money Club, those of you that are members, you've seen this, there's private deals, There's private funds. So just as that was a private fund as an example is what Andrew did last week. So Andrew was on last week talking about a new fund that him and Chris and a couple other people are partners in. It's a more conservative fund. It's only lending 60% of value on deals to allow for some corrections in the market that are upcoming. And I think it's 6 to 10%, depending on the length of time that you're in the investment for. And so that's what a private fund would be. And Denise was just asking, I missed the last 2 Mondays. Can you send me those? So yeah, Denise, the recordings are all put into a private YouTube channel, and those are accessible through a link in the Private Money Club. And I'll show you that in just a second, where that's located, where you can access the recordings. So there are passive income deals in the Private Money Club for 3 months to really 7 years, 3+ years, this should say. I know Dwight and I believe Steve Lawson have some longer term investments right now available. So, long term is good if you're just looking to stick money somewhere and kind of forget about it for a while. So money coming out of an IRA, for instance, move that into a self-directed IRA with somebody like Horizon Trust. We do have a self-directed IRA package that includes the Private Money Club. So if you're new to that, you can go to Money School. Show you guys this. So just go to Money School. What was it? moneyschoolrei.com/SDIRA. And you can get started with a self-directed IRA. So your option for that would be this one right here. It includes the Private Money Club. Now, if you're just looking for an IRA to self-direct and you're already in the Private Money Club, just let me know and we can get you taken care of. So there's some different options on here now. We even created a precious metals one that includes the membership. So pretty cool right there, but easy way to do it. You can join the Private Money Club one, click that, and then you can either use a credit card or use your IRA to pay for it. So that's a pretty easy way to do that. Let's see. George says, I'm in the process of the investment with Dr. V. So yeah, so Duck V was on a couple weeks ago, and I believe he was on last week again. He has an investment in New Mexico where he's doing a ranch with primitive camping and all kinds of excursions and things. So that was a pretty cool investment. So that was on the Private Money Club. I'll show you that when we log in just a second here. So Craig's wanting to discuss, pros and cons of longer term versus shorter term deals. So we can definitely talk about that. So 3 months versus 3 years. So shorter term versus longer term lending opportunities. So really there's no pros or cons. It's more what fits your situation. So what I mean by that is, for me right now, when opportunities come around, and what I mean by that is I believe that we're at a market peak right now, both in real estate and the stock market. And I believe that the stock market is a large bubble that's going to pop, and the stock market's going to crash. And I believe that it's going to take a good decade for the stock market to come back, if not longer. And during that decade of down times, whether we get into a recession or no matter what happens, when that crash occurs, there's going to be a lot of ramifications that go along with that in the overall economy, in the real estate market. And, real estate tends to be a trailing, let's call it a trailing indicator. So as things happen in the stock market, overall economy, the real estate market tends to trail. So, I fully expect the real estate market to come down. I don't know if it'll crash, and I think it'll be region and area specific, but I do think that there is going to be a big downturn in real estate as well. And my point in all this is when these things start to pop and when these crashes start to occur and when things start to come down, there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there. So the best way I can explain this is after 2008, when the real estate crash happened, we bought a lot of houses, in 2010, 2011, 2012, even up until the last few years. And some of these properties, like I was just talking to my cousin over the weekend, and he was just telling me about a house they just sold for $98,000 that they bought 8 years ago for $15,000. So $15,000 to $100,000 increase in 8 years is a pretty large increase. And there's a lot of properties right now that happened with that we've sold, that I've either sold or we're working on right now. And so I think that we're going to be able to buy a lot of property at very, very low prices again. Whether it's the entire market or whether it's those of us that are educated that know in and how to go in and get these types of deals. But there's going to be a lot of opportunity. So for me, I don't want to keep my money sitting right now. So I'm doing a lot of shorter term lending and shorter term deals and shorter term opportunities where I can keep my money moving and making more money for me. But I know that if things do turn and come down, that it's a short term deal. So it's not going to get caught up in that. Because if you're doing like a flip that's going to take a year or longer to do, and all of a sudden it's 6 months, the market starts to turn, and what I expected I could sell that property for, now I'm not going to be able to sell it for that, and interest rates keep to rise, and the market slows down, the buyers and things like that, becomes more of a buyer's market than a seller's market, and everything that goes on when things like that happen. It's I don't really want to be caught up in a deal midway through when the market's in the midst of changing heavily, like I think it's going to. So shorter term stuff for that reason makes sense to me. And also I want my money back. So I don't want my money tied up in a deal that's going to take 3, 4, 5 years, because what if opportunities start to arise within 2 years and my money's tied up for 5? Then I don't have access to my money when I need it to be able to get in and start buying this stuff at in my opinion, that's going to be bottom of the barrel prices again, like we saw in like 2010. So that's what I'm looking at it from, because I do want to actively be able to participate when that stuff happens, but not everybody wants to be an active investor or get involved in those active deals when things start to happen. So if you're just looking for a place to put your money, you have your own investment strategy, or maybe you just play in the crypto space, or maybe you just play in the real estate or the stock market space or options trading. But you just want your money to be able to grow for you in real estate through passive deals. Well, maybe a long-term 5-year, 7-year plus, 10-year plus type deal makes sense because you don't care about it. You just want your money growing at 10% a year. That's your strategy for that money. And you don't want to mess with it. Or like in a retirement account, in an IRA. Again, let's say you're 30 years old. Well, that money in the IRA, you can't touch until you're 60 years old anyways. So why not let it grow in a long-term within the IRA where you're investing now and you're forgetting about it for 10 years because you can't touch that money for 20 or 30 years anyways. So those would be good examples of longer term deals. But again, there's not really pros and cons as much as there are just what's your strategy and what are you expecting to happen, and what are your plans when those things do happen. So hopefully that helps. And there are a lot of different types of deals within the Private Money Club, 3-month to those long-term deals. And if you're new to Private Money Club or you have money you're looking to lend right now, what I recommend to most everyone that joins as a lender is, put your name out there, and I'll show you the stuff in a minute when I log in, but put your name out there on the different, in the different communication areas in Private Money Club, and start introducing yourself to the borrowers. And then what I say is reach out to them. So message them or let me know, and I'll email you and do a private email introduction, and then hop on a phone or a Zoom with those borrowers, with those investors. Even if you don't have money right now, you're looking to lend to them. Maybe you do in 6 months or a year from now. And this is this is a relationship-based game. This is a relationship-based business. So you want to start building those relationships now, not when you have the money ready to go. Because if I have $100,000 just sitting there ready to deploy, but I haven't already done my homework, my due diligence, my underwriting of the investor, then I got to do that while my money's sitting. And the longer my money's sitting, the more money I'm losing to inflation and things like that. So I want to keep my money going. So right now is the time to do your due diligence, build that relationship. So as soon as your money is available, you're ready to deploy it immediately and get that money working and making more money for you. So very important. Or let's say you're opening up an IRA right now, a self-directed IRA, and you're waiting for the transfer of funds to occur. Well, that transfer can take a month. I know Horizon's worked very hard on lowering that. I think the industry average is around 6 to 7 weeks, and Horizon's got it down to 3 weeks. It a lot of times depends on where the money's coming from, but Horizon's done a great job, but it still takes time. So during that 3-week waiting period, while the money's being transferred over, that's when you need to do this due diligence. So that's when you'll start underwriting the developer, and I'll talk more the developer, underwriting the investor, and I'll talk more about that as we get going here. So lending opportunities, everything from 10,000 to $1 million plus. And you'll notice that some of the deals, if you invest under 250,000, let's say you get 10%. You invest 250 to 500,000, you get 12%. You invest 500,000 to $1 million, you get 15%. You invest over $1 million, you get 18%. So some of these different deals, and this is a negotiation too. So I won't name names or what the deal is, but I was just talking to somebody last week, and they invested 800,000, and they negotiated where instead of having any kind of actual extra part of the deal once it actually sells and refinances, they just wanted more of their money up front. So they increased the interest that they're receiving in lieu of those other advantages to lending on that deal, and it increased their interest up to 19%, I believe it was. So instead of 15 or whatever, it went up to 19, but it was in lieu of some other stuff that would have happened on the back end because this person wanted to generate more monthly income at the time. So then remember, with these private deals, these are private. So a lot of them, you can negotiate this stuff. Now, some of the private funds, like you saw Andrew talking about last week, those are set terms. So by contract, by law, if it's 12 months, it's 6%. If it's 36 months, it's 10% or whatever that deal was. Those are set terms. So you can't negotiate, but a lot of these other private lending deals, you can negotiate, and that can be a big part of it. So keep that in mind when you're underwriting that investor, you're having these conversations and you're building that relationship. Hey, is there flexibility in this? Hey, what does this look like? Are you willing to work with me if I need to get a certain amount of money, if I want to get any points up front because it's a short-term deal, things like that. So that's something else, 3-month deal. If you're doing 3-month deals, you lend your money for 3 months and you get your money back. Then it might take another month before you get your money back out into the next deal. So you do that again, 3 months pass, then another month, 3 months. All of a sudden, I've done 3 deals at 12% in a year, but my money sat for 2 or 3 months in between those deals. So really my money only grew at 8 or 9% because the money was sitting. So when you're doing the shorter term deals, keep that in mind as well. So one of the things you can do in that case is maybe the borrower is willing to pay points because it's such a short-term deal. So if I can make 12% for 3 months, and then my money sits for a month before the next deal's available, I say, okay, I'll lend to you on that. I don't have a problem doing it, but I want a point on top of the 12%. And that'll get me up to where I need to be for the overall year, even with my money sitting. So maybe the borrower is willing to do that. Maybe the borrower is not willing to do that, but it's a question and a conversation that can be had. So single family, multifamily, things like apartment complexes, mobile home parks. So just give you an example of that. There's actually some commercial real estate too. So the fund that Andrew was talking about, I know that they're doing a lot in the commercial real estate space right now. We had somebody on talking about syndications recently that's doing multifamily and apartment complexes. One of the funds, I believe it's closed down now, the Safari Fund, was one that was backing mostly mobile home park purchases. And I've been talking to a lot of other private raises and syndications that are going to be coming on the Private Money Club soon that are in the multifamily and apartment complex space. And then a lot of these borrowers will pivot. Chris Root is doing a lot in the mobile home park space, but mobile home parks are getting a little expensive right now. So he's doing more and more of the short-term flips. They're looking at RVs, they're looking at self-storage, and they're kind of, doing that. If you guys have talked with Jack Petrick is huge in the apartment complex space. But Jack Petrick also has realized that some of where in the areas that he's buying and what he's doing with the types of apartment complexes he buys in this market right now, the returns have just become so small that they're making so much better money. There's so much more opportunity in single family or development just because that's where the demand is right now. So that's where they're concentrating. They're not buying a lot of these right now, even though this is his wheelhouse. They're done an incredible job with the single family developments. And I know we've had a lot of investors on here that have lent money to Jack Petrick and have gotten involved on those deals and are loving it. They're a great opportunity. So a lot of the borrowers that we have in the club too are going to pivot, and because they have the experience, because this is what they do every single day, all day, every day, they're reading markets, they're seeing where are the markets going, what's happening right now, and they're keeping an eye on things. So as the Fed increases rates, as mortgage rates rise, maybe as the market starts to cool, if we start to see the economy come down and foreclosures happen, well, I'm sure he's gonna be pivoting, going right back into the multifamily apartment complex space, because this is where the demand's going to go to at that time. It's all about supply and demand and what the market wants. So that's all important stuff. And when you're talking with these borrowers and these investors, ask them about their experience. Hey, what were you doing in 2005, 2006, 2007? If they were in real estate, how did you handle 2008? Did you lose money? Did you lose money for your investors? What happened? A lot of our investors, Chris Rue, Jack Petrick, a lot of these guys, Dwight Harrison, Steve Long, a lot of these guys, I've talked to them about this, and they've told me that, they've had deals that go wrong. They've been caught up in things like '08, where markets come down, but they'll also tell you, and you can vet them and ask for references, but they've never lost money for their investors. They've personally lost money, but they've never lost money for their investors. And if you start getting into larger deals where you're investing, $1 million or larger amounts of money, depending on the investor and how they have the deal set up. I mean, you can even look at things like personal guarantees, where if something does go wrong and that investor is worth a lot of money, or they have other projects going, or they own other assets in other places, maybe you're lending to their LLC for one specific project, but you're worried that one specific project, something might happen. So you might ask them for a personal guarantee. You're willing to lend on that project, but if something goes wrong, you want a personal guarantee from them that they're going to tap into their other resources, their other assets, their other property to make you whole if something goes wrong with that deal that you're specifically lending on. So there's different things like that you can do to kind of help protect, depending on the deal, how much you're investing, what it looks like. Again, it's all part of the negotiation. So that's just some different, ideas and things to look for when you're lending money. Any questions on lending money? Again, sources for lending money. The most popular are going to come from IRAs. So old 401ks, IRAs, whether traditional or Roth. Just remember, it needs to be in a self-directed IRA. So if you don't have it in a self-directed IRA right now, just let me know. I'll connect you with, we use Horizon Trust. You can use any self-directed company out there, but let's get that money transferred over. No taxes, no fees, no penalties for doing so, but it just puts it into an account that you can now use to do things like these private money loans. 1 point equals 1%. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so a point is just a finance term, Freddie. So 1 point on 100,000 would be $1,000, for instance. And it's paid, it's not, 10% interest is annual. So if your money's returned in 6 months, you only get 5% because it was only lent out, because that 10% is an annual number. 1 point is total for the money you're lending, no matter what. So you can lend that money at 2 points for 2 days and you still make $2,000 on 100 grand, so that's all a point is. It's a way to make a little bit extra. It's usually paid up front, but you can build it on the back end or over time as well. It just depends, but typically up front. So the other most popular place that people are lending money from are from their private banking policies. So we do a lot in the money multiplier, infinite banking concept, especially design and engineer whole life policies. So especially with like those of you doing dump ins, you can dump in, 100 grand, pull over 90,000 of it right back out and take that money. Now it's in the policy, compounding and growing uninterrupted for the rest of your life, but you immediately pull that money right back out, even though while it's in there compounding, then lend it on one of these deals. Now we have tax-free uninterrupted growth happening over here while you're lending the same money out and growing it at 10, 12, 15% over here through these deals. So people love lending money on these through their private banking policies because you're getting double growth on your money legally. And the money over here is tax-free growth, which is pretty cool. So that's probably one of the most popular places where people are lending money. And if you're new to the infinite banking concept and what we do with these specialized policies, join me tomorrow evening East Coast time, tomorrow afternoon, West Coast time, but it's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to do the money multiplier infinite banking presentation. So if you've never seen it before, you still have some questions about it or not completely clear on what infinite banking is, make sure you join me at 6 p.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, April 26th. And I'm going to go through the whole presentation for you. So you got to register for that. For that, it's a Zoom, but it is a free Zoom. So just keep an eye on your emails for the registration link for that. That's a great place to lend money from because you get the double growth. Great place to lend from is the IRA because you get the tax advantages, whether it's tax deferred or tax free. And other than that, just cash. I mean, if you have just money sitting around, why not lend it out? You lend out $100,000. It creates a 12%. It's $1,000 a month coming in. What can you do with $1,000 a month? Make a car payment, whatever. But so it's a great way to create some additional income and create some stuff like that happening. And HELOCs. I mean, a lot of equity in homes right now. So we got a lot of people that'll pull a HELOC money. Maybe they're paying 5% for the HELOC, lending at 12%. They're making a 7% spread. So, lending out $100,000 in HELOC money, even after the spread, you have $600-700 a month coming in. That could definitely help most people out an extra $600 or $700 a month for basically doing nothing. And that's just money that's sitting right now in your house, in your rafters. So a HELOC is a great place. If you have a 401k and you're worried about the stock market crashing, a lot of 401ks, an active 401k, you can't transfer it. It's kind of stuck there. Again, most 401ks don't give you options to do things like this. But you can take a loan against the 401k. So what if you pull out $50,000 from a loan from your 401k, lend it out on a deal like this? Now it's out of the stock market. At least you're making money with it. You're paying back your 401k that you pay back the money to yourself, but you're getting it out of the stock market. So this is just some different ideas and things to think about when you're looking for where is money coming from. And in most deals, you can combine money too. So it depends on the borrower. So not always, but a lot of times if you say, hey, listen, I got $20,000 coming from an IRA, I got $30,000 coming from a infinite banking policy, and I got $100,000 HELOC. So I got 150,000 total I'd like to throw at this deal. Most borrowers will work with you and they'll put it, make those funds combined to get you into a deal. Now you might have to do separate paperwork. Well, you will have to do separate paperwork. For example, with a IRA money. And it depends on if you're using an LLC or not, but with an IRA, the IRA is going to own that investment. So you have to do all the paperwork separate for the IRA money, but just keep that in mind. Most investors will let you work with them on that. Let's see. Can you send me a link? I have a few people in my crypto investment group that want to learn about the money multiplier. Yeah, Gene, I can definitely do that. Let me just see real fast if I have it. I always forget. It might be this one, preview. Let's see. Probably help if it told me where this was, right? Oh, here we go. March 28th. Is that? No, that must not be this one. Gene, I'll have to send you guys the link. I don't have it off the top of my head. Okay. All right. So those are some different places. Now, if you're a borrower in the private money club, when I log in here in a second, I'll show you some different things that you're going to want to do, but just to kind of highlight that real fast. So you're a real estate investor looking for funding, true private money lending. So again, I just explained where the private money is coming from. So people just like you and me that are just looking to get out of the stock market, invest their money other ways, get involved with real estate deals without being actively in real estate. I'm a huge fan of real estate investing. Oh, here's the preview right here. I just found it. So I'm just going to put this in the chat box. There we go. All right. So I just put it in the chat box for anybody for the preview tomorrow night. And that's going to be on the private or on the infinite banking concept. Let me see. Todd said, ever thought about a crypto fund where the capital gain is forgiven by the reinvestment of these gains in opportunity zone, multifamily land, project, result, crypto profit, appreciate cash flow. Yeah, Todd, I was actually talking with somebody. I was in Tampa last week at a power room mastermind, and I was talking to a guy that actually has a fund, and that's how they do it. It's really interesting. So they treat the fund like real estate notes essentially. And it's I'm going to bring them on just to teach about it. But right now, the private money club is going to be just 100% real estate deals like we're seeing right now. But at some point in the future, we can definitely start bringing more stuff like that. But I love the idea of that and learning about it. So we're going to bring them on. If not a Money Club Mondays, definitely a either a wealth webinar or onto one of the MSTV coachings. So definitely, if you're part of Private Money Club, which I believe you are, make sure you join us for that coaching call. But things like that are, definitely a lot in the future coming with stuff like that, and I think it's going to be good to kind of be out in the front of it. So yeah, so stuff like that I think is really cool. Definitely want to learn more about that. And Todd, if you know anybody doing that, please introduce me too, because like I said, I met one or two people that I want to talk more about, but I'd like to talk with several people because we try and vet people and get multiple perspectives and pick the best of the best before we bring them onto our community, before we introduce them to everybody else. So please, Todd, yeah, shoot me an email if you know anybody that we could you could connect me with. That'd be really cool. All right. So yeah, so if you're a borrower, one of the best things you can do is just start building that relationship with the lenders. So I'll show you in a second here, different ways to communicate with the different people in the private money club. But one of the best ways is reach out to them on there, do Zooms, but also let me know so I can bring you on to private money club Mondays like this. And even if you don't have a deal right now, let's introduce you to the club. Like you guys were on when Chris Bizub was on a few weeks ago, right? And he, didn't have a deal right then. They had just closed down a syndication, but Chris is an awesome guy. And so he just come meet everybody. And I'm sure, and he said he talked with several people afterwards. So that way is when Chris does have his next syndication deal ready, he has people he can reach right out to. You guys start to know who he is and you're ready to go. So any borrowers on here, definitely a great way to do that. And again, this is private money. So you're not getting, qualified like the bank's going to qualify you and things like that. Just everyday people. All right. And then if you, are going to be a lender and a borrower, or you're just really just kind of learning more about private lending, that's fine. That's what this is all about, is just getting the lenders, getting the borrowers, putting them together, the edge of the coin. That's the way we always described it. If you get a quarter, one side's one side's the other, you flip it. And that outer edge is where the magic happens, where everything's brought together. So, that's what the private money club is. And, and education is a big part of it. So we have some videos when you first log in, just the basics of private money lending. We're here to support you and help you. And I'll show you some of those resources in a second. We do our 2-hour coaching every single month, where we bring in different experts and we talk about different things money related. And, the video's on, the audio's on, we interact with each other, you ask questions, but, we're there to make sure that you're doing private lending the right way and protecting your money. And that's the most important part, because if you're doing this the right way and you've, found a good borrower and you found a good deal and you have the paperwork and you're doing things the right way, even if a deal goes bad, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to lose. If you lose money, it's going to be a more minimal amount of money than what, you're not going to lose all your money if things are done the right way. Or if you're working with the right people, like I said before, that have the experience and know what they're doing, odds are you're going to be able to, recoup your money or still make your profits on it, even when things go wrong, because they have their businesses set up right and they have their businesses done the right way. So the more you can come on these webinars and meet new people and learn new things and hop on these coachings and get the education, the more confident you're going to be to do these deals, but also the better position you're going to be in to make sure that you don't lose money. Even when things go wrong, you're still making money on that deal. And that's what it's all about. And when you're doing things the right way, that's what you can expect. Let's see. Have you heard of any credit unions that have really low rates of HELOC? No, that's a good question, Denise. So banks and credit unions and community banks and they're always changing. They're always running specials. They're always changing their rates. They're they're region and local specific. So when you're shopping for a HELOC, I just recommend calling around, you letting your fingers, do the work for you, so to say. So Google a half a dozen or more different banks in your area, credit unions, call all of them, call a couple big ones, call a couple local ones, call a couple unions, say, what do you guys got going on? Do you have any specials coming up? What's your loan to value ratio? Is it a fixed rate? Are there any closing costs? Are there any fees? All the questions. And then just, lay it, write them all down and lay it out, hey, which one fits the position, which one works for what I'm trying to do and accomplish. It's not always the lowest rate. Is it interest only repayments? What does all that look like? How often does the rate adjust? Just because you're getting 2% now, if the rate adjusts in 3 months to 8%, then, but you could have went somewhere else that's 5% consistent, maybe it makes more sense to do that. So, ask all those questions, but there's no special magic to that, Denise. We've tried to, but they just seem to change too quickly. That's a good question, though. All right. And then more importantly, if you guys need any help with any of this stuff and you're just learning with the private lending, just let me know. I'm here to help. So just email me or let's schedule a call and let me help you guys get going with it. So, this isn't going to work. Let me see. I do not know my password. I don't know if I can log in here for you guys. I was going to log in and show you around. All right, let me show you one other thing. So when you're a member of the club, my web browser the other day updated and it cleared out all of my passwords and everything. So everything I've been logging into, it's for some reason, it's not saving my password. And it used to just popped up. It used to pop up and like show me, but I don't know how that works. So, all right, I'll mess with it in a minute. But the other thing I did want to show you before I do that, let me just slide this over, stop the share and do the new share. So on top of the private money club, .com that you log into, there's also the Slack channel that we're still using right now, just because the communication on the Slack channel is a little bit easier to talk with people. So let me share that. All right, so this is the Slack channel. So if you're in the private money club as a member, make sure that you're in the Slack channel, or if you're not, let us know and I'll have Dale set you up with an account and get you on there. So this is where we'll occasionally post some of the different trainings, webinars, some of the recordings, different announcements over here. So when you join the private money club, you'll see all these different channels. So these channels are where you can find different information. So these are just announcements of things that are going on. If you have a deal and need money, this is where you post that deal in here. Chris loves to use this site. So Chris puts a lot of the different rude deals in here. So you could see this was 325,000 left. And one of the nice things that Naugle's been doing for these is even if you have a smaller amount of money, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, and you want to get in on a $325,000 deal, just let Chris know and he'll bundle these things together to get to the total 325. So let me see, this one was, I think this one's full now, but this one was first lien position, 12% annual, interest checks paid monthly, profit split options no longer available. So it's 12%. We need to fund this in the next 3 weeks. So Chris will post things like that. So final post, 86,000 left. So that was that same one. So that one was going quick. So Jason, or this was Jared's deal. All right. And then, so if you have money and looking for deals, this is a good place to post that. So Sean was new to the team, has $100,000. So any borrowers, go in here and take a look at this. I mean, if you see this right here, what you want to do is click Sean, message. So, hey, Sean, I have a deal. Let's talk. Something like that. Just hit send. So start the conversation. Doesn't have to be a big deal. Just start the conversation. Introductions. We were originally doing this. We kind of stopped off, but anybody new to the club, we were having them come in and introduce themselves. Again, we're kind of piecing this private money club together in this beta version. with privatemoneyclub.com and Slack. The development team, those of you that are in on the 25-25-25 deal, the reason we did that is because we invested over $250,000 to have a development team build Private Money Club from the ground up, both website and apps for the iPhone and the Android. And this entire $300,000 is being spent for two reasons. A, simplicity, and B, communication. So A, we want this to be as simple that my 6-year-old son in kindergarten can come on the Private Money Club website or on the phone app on his iPad or on my phone, and he could go on there and he could literally use it and find a deal that he wants to lend on. Or if he's a borrower, he could go on there and find money to fund his deal. So it's going to be that simple. Literally, that's the only reason we're doing it. Nothing else out there does this. Nothing else out there in the world exists like this. So we're doing it. And B, once you have simplicity, if you guys haven't noticed what I've been talking about this entire time today, is communication and relationships. So the way to build relationships is through good communication. So this reason we're doing this is for communication. Right now, communication using Slack and the Private Money Club as it exists is difficult. Not difficult, it's just a lot of steps to do mass communications, to target the people you're looking for, to have these one-on-one conversations. So we're going to have it all built in for you right there on your phone and on the website. So communication and simplicity, that's what it's going to be all about. So if you're already in Private Money Club, you guys will be in now. It's $9.97 a year. That will go up to $14.97 a year in October when we launch the new site. Just a heads up on that. All right. So that's going to be everything new with the new Private Money Club and why we're doing that. But right now you can see that if you're a member now, definitely go in, and if you're new, introduce yourself on here still, and let's use this still. Partnerships. So anybody that's looking to partner on deals, anybody that's looking to partner with somebody else, maybe you have $100,000 and you're like, hey, let's partner with somebody else, or maybe you kind of want to be a silent partner, but you want to be on the equity side of a deal, something like that. It's a good place to find those kinds of other people that are similar to you. So right here, Claudia was looking for partners to JV deals, possible shadowing. It's basically like, hey, I want to learn more about how to actually do deals. I don't have a lot of experience, but I got the money. Who wants my money? And, I'll kind of learn as we do the deal together, stuff like that. These are just, this was an area that we put up for different types of deals. So Kevin Shortell was posting notes on here for a while, but Kevin's kind of taking everything offline now and is doing it through his own community. But Kevin is still a big part of our community. So Kevin does a great job with notes, and Kevin has told me he will start putting turnkey notes again on Private Money Club once we launch the new site. And then Q&A, of course, any questions, answers. There's no lack of support and help in the Private Money Club. If you guys need anything at all, just let us know and we're right here for you. All right. Okay, 100,000 K to invest. I'll check it out. All right, let me see if I can log into this site real fast. Search passwords. It says search passwords. I'm searching passwords and it's not searching. I haven't given up. All right. Well, I'm not able to log on a Private Money Club right now. Let me just try one more thing. And again, if you guys have any questions, put those in the box right now, and I will answer those. welcome. I guess I could do a password reset. All right, let's try that. See if that works. Well, let's test it out. Get new password. Here we go. All right, I missed the last two. Is there a list of questions, checklist anywhere to ask the credit union? We're talking to the credit union for the HELOC. Denise, there's not a checklist, but you're just going to want to ask them, what if they charge any fees? Are there any costs? If there's an appraisal, who pays for it? And then what the interest rate is, is it adjustable? Is there an introductory offer? What the terms are? So when you take money on the line of credit, is it interest only repayments, or how do you repay the HELOC? Just some of those basic questions like that. Invest in the build. James, Mr. Kelly, there might be, if you can email me on that one, I'll let you know. I know we might have a few people had some other things happening so yeah, just email me on that. Let me see if we can get you into that one. That's actually a good question. All right, 2 more seconds. I just wanted to show you guys a couple more things on the website here. All right, so reset password. Great, looks like it works. All right, great. Looks like I reset it. So I'm gonna log in now. Share my screen again. Okay. All right, so when you log into Private Money Club, it should, when you first join, it should have you start creating a profile. Oops, Mary, snaggy at chrisnaugle.com is fine. Chat box go. As interest rates slowly go up in the infinite banking where I take loans at 5%, will this probably go up? John, that's a good question. Probably not. The interest rates have been dropping with the insurance companies, and they don't tend to adjust those very often. So one of the nice things about about the money multiplier, especially design whole life policies that I'm going to be doing tomorrow evening at 6 is, it's been kind of weird because the insurance companies charge between like 4 and 5%. And that's been like that for a long time. And so, recently, obviously, everybody knows we've been living in this very low interest rate environment with, you can go to the bank and borrow money between 3 and 4%. And it's been very, very low for a while now. We've kind of gotten used to that. But as rates start to rise, you're going to start understanding more and more of the power of having your own private bank. Because those loan rates that the insurance companies charge don't tend to adjust up. So as rates at the real banks, traditional banks increase, we're still able to borrow money from the insurance companies at the lower rate. And so even though that lower borrow rate in the grand scheme of things really doesn't matter because of the uninterrupted compounding aspect of how the policy works and what happens with the infinite banking concept, it's still nice to have that feeling that you are still, having access to your money for less than what you could have borrowed it elsewhere. So you'll notice that more and more. We were actually having a good conversation. I saw a conversation going about that on the private Facebook group, which, by the way, if you guys aren't on the private Facebook group, you definitely should be. I believe it's groups and infinite banking. All right. Yeah, so here it is right here. I'll put it in. If you guys aren't in this Facebook group, you really should join it. It's a good one. Okay. All right. So on the Private Money Club, this is the page right here. So if you're looking for funds, you have a deal, just click there and it'll get you started with posting a deal. So when you post a deal, you're just going to want to put, a title that catches their attention. Just put, where it's located, what the length of terms, what the length of term is, how much you're looking to borrow, just the basics on there. If it's an active listing, and then afterwards, once it's funded, you can go and complete it. Put any pictures right here, captions for those pictures so people knows what they're looking at. So I think you're up to 10 photos on here. So put as many pictures as you can. People love pictures. I mean, I love pictures. And when I'm lending, it's kind of nice to be able to see what I'm lending on and talk to you about it. How much you're looking to raise. Description, address, property type, bedrooms, bathrooms, year built, square footage, any additional documents. So if you had a like an appraisal done, or if you had a plot map of the area, or if you have a perfect loan proposal done, or you have any supporting documents that go along with the deal, you can put those in there. Any financials, things off the spec sheet, and then agree to the terms, hit save and preview, and I'll post it to the site. And then if you want a little bit more help with that, we have little areas here. You can click that and Chris will give you some pointers on, I thought it was Andrew actually, but Chris will give you some pointers on listing a deal. Right. And then anytime you want to get into the menu, so this is the main page. It has the most recent deals on here that people are posting. And you'll see some of these Andrew posts, but Andrew posts them for other people sometimes. So these aren't Andrew's deals. So Slack will post the most recent notifications on here from that Slack channel I was showing you before. Any fully funded deals, once they're funded, will just get moved down to there. And then up here in the upper left corner has all the different resources with the Private Money Club. Any notifications you have. So I have a friend request from Michael David right now. I have 2 new messages. So anything going on within the community, this will alert me to tell me what's going on so I can go in there and check that stuff. And then this is, everything. So I believe the campfire, the recordings should be on here. Okay, I might be wrong. So the link that might be right here. So join us weekly. Okay, so this should have. So I'll get this added today. It was on here. I don't know what happened to it. But the recordings for the Private Money Clubs, the link will be on here. So it'll say Private Money Club recordings. But anytime you just want to kind of know what's going on, maybe they put it up here. Oh, no, it's not here. Okay, so I'll get that added for you guys. So any of the recordings, there is a Money School TV, Private Money Club private Facebook page as well. That is invite only, or you have to be a member of the group. So you can access that one right there. But make sure you go through all this stuff. So when you join, just kind of go through all of this. Just kind of tells you, make sure you're joining us for the 2-hour coaching every week. So you can click to register right there. I think once you register once, it keeps you in it too. And then of course, MSTV. MSTV is great. So all of you should have access to MSTV. And MSTV is, let's see if it'll log me in there. No, so MSTV is a list of on-demand videos, not just private money lending related, but Chris Rude's got some good videos on there. Like Stefano was on there before he passed. Like a lot of really cool stuff. Actually, there's some really good self-directed IRA training inside of this MSTV on demand, and also Kevin Shortell's got some pretty good training about notes inside there. But that's where we put all of that. All the recordings for the 2 hours are in there also. So make sure you guys are checking out MSTV also. That's included with the Private Money Club. So take full advantage of that. And there's a bunch of cool resources in there stuff too. So if you have a deal to post and you just don't have the time to post it, we'll do it for you. So just click there. It'll tell you how to contact them and get that going. If you're looking to promote your deal, this will let you contact me so we can get you scheduled for one of these Money Club Mondays. Make sure we record it and then we'll blast it out on the YouTube channel and everything also. If you need any help with contracts, this is an attorney that works with corporate capital. So his contact information is right on here. He can do promissory note mortgage combos in all 50 states with a 24-hour turnaround for $400 to $500, which is a great deal, especially the 24-hour turnaround. I've had a lot of people, hey, Steven, I'm trying to get a promissory note or a mortgage created, but it's like a 3-week wait at my local attorney's office. So Steve will turn this around very, very quickly for you, which is very cool, which is needed in real estate investing. So he's who we're using now. Again, this is all stuff that's going to be built into the new Private Money Club. Instead of emailing and stuff, it'll just pop right up and you can do it. But nonetheless, right now, make sure you guys are taking advantage of that. These are some other resources. So the file vault, the perfect loan proposal. This is stuff if you're a borrower, you're going to want to complete. If you're an investor, the private vault, the file vault's got all kinds of really cool stuff. Right now it's all on MSTV. So you got to log in through MSTV to access it, but it's all on there for you. Sample notes and documents. If you just want to kind of take a look at what those look like, you can download them right there. I mean, feel free to use them, but have an attorney check it all. Some different bonus content that we put on here. So resources and the campfire gonna have a lot of really good training, as well as the learn tab. So those are the areas if you're new and you're looking to learn the ropes or just get more familiar with private money lending. And then those of you that are borrowers, those of you that are lenders, some different tools. If you're doing turnkeys, if you're looking to be a lender but actually own the real estate, turnkey rentals can be a pretty good area. So we work with a couple different companies right now, Rent to Retirement, as well as Philanthro Investors. These guys are actually coming on Wealth Webinar Series, and they're going to be on a Money Club Mondays very soon as well. They do a bunch of really cool stuff. And the Rent to Retirement guys do a great job also. So basically they find the deal, they help you get all the financing, they get the property management company in place, they get the renter in place, they do everything for you. So all you do is basically buy the property. Now you own a rental, that everything's done for you. So it's an interesting way of acquiring real estate. So something to consider if you're a passive investor, but would like to start actually acquiring real estate and not just doing private money lending. So with that being said, that's the Private Money Club as it stands right now today in April of 2022. So let me read through these questions. Yeah, Stephen, try password. My password probably was password, but no, it was set by the developers originally, and they set these like really crazy long passwords. So I had it saved somewhere, but nonetheless, just their password reset. That worked well. Good to see. All right, let's see here. All right, so just reading through the comments real quick. If anyone is on the fence about joining, I joined about a year ago and was able to lend on 10 projects. 4 deals have matured, and I am reinvesting with the same borrowers. Great group of lenders and borrowers. Cool, awesome. Thanks, Gene. Appreciate that. See, Austin, my first deal was 36,000 and went up from there. 4 current deals with my first borrower. Yeah, that's Gene. That's a great example. I mean, you start with a $36,000 deal. You like the way it happened. You like that borrower. And then once you get that money back, now you have 4 deals going with that. You just keep it going, keep it rolling. You snowball it. Absolutely. Money multiplier policies to fund the deals. Awesome. Let's see. Cookies got cleared. Yeah, I lost my cookies. Shaking my head. You should look into RoboForm. Yeah, I should look into a lot of things, Craig. Thanks. I actually did all that at one point, and I don't know what happened to it. I probably have it all set up somewhere. Let's see. Made his money back in 4 months. Awesome. And interest rates slowly go up. Okay, I read that. Just joined the Facebook group. Been in Chris's group a while, but didn't know about the IBC group. Yeah, Todd, that's a really good group because that's open to the public, and we have a lot of other infinite banking practitioners in there. We even have some IUL guys in there. So there's some really good conversations. People post some really good questions in that infinite banking Facebook group. And it's not just our group. So it's a bunch of, it's a lot of different investors and IBC people. So you get a lot of different perspectives as well. But just keep that in mind. If anybody reaches out to you on there trying to solicit or market services or anything like that, they're not necessarily with our group. You guys know all of us, Chris and Gabby and Shauna and Andrew and our team. Jordan Level is our VA that's on there. You'll see a lot of stuff come from Jordan. He is part of our team, but that's about it that's on there. So just keep that in mind, anybody that's joining that. So, all right. Have you heard credit unions? Yeah, we talked about that. All right. Is there still an opportunity to invest in the build out? Yeah, Jim, just email me on that. And Stephen, which email do we use to contact you? snaky@chrisnaugle.com is fine, but any of the snaky @ emails you guys have for me should work just fine. All right. So I guess that's it for Money Club Monday.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. We're putting up tons of them, but I think if you like this one, you'll probably like that video as well. Click that alert button, actually smash that alert button, and you'll be notified every time we put a new video. So we'll see you on the next episode.